Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Like Kevin said, my name is Megan. I work with the amazing humans over here at the Center for Healing and Justice Through Sport. And I've noticed two things come up today that I want to really sort of highlight and talk about why we care about them. And one is that access is not equitable. And the second is that there's so much power in sport, play, and movement to help support young people. At the Center for Healing and Justice Through Sport, we believe that the most important way that sport can help young people is in its unique power to help young people heal. Young people heal from the impact of overwhelming stress and trauma. And so I'm going to tell you 3 reasons why sport is uniquely suited to do that, and then I'm going to tell you 3 reasons why we think it matters. Sport is uniquely suited to help young people heal, and if you've ever been to a CHJS training, who's been to a CHJS training? I didn't hear you. Yeah, thank you. Okay, great. If you've ever been to a CHJS training, you will have heard these 3 things. We can't help ourselves but talk about them. But there's 3 things that we put together in sport that make it a unique environment for healing. And the first is, if we do it right, there are positive relationships for young people. A caring adult who makes a young person feel safe is a prerequisite. It is a necessity for healing. If young people who've experienced trauma show up places and they're on guard, an adult who they trust to take care of them is going to help them let down that guard and engage in what they want to do. Trust is the antidote to stress. If we have a caring adult, then we are setting young people up for success. The second thing that sport does is it helps kids move their bodies, right? Lots of interventions have caring adults. Not as many have caring adults and the opportunity to move your body. We've heard about how positive that is, how it affects the chemicals in our brain in a positive way. And it also actually helps us get what we call regulated. And regulation is basically having all of your needs met, right? And I know the next thing I'm going to tell you is going to sound like 1 + 1 = a bushel of apples, but one of the most powerful things about moving our bodies is that when we do it in patterned, repetitive, rhythmic ways, right? The mic guys hate me when I do this. When we do it in a patterned, repetitive, rhythmic way, whenever we move our body in that way, it actually mimics the connection our brain made between the sound of our mother's heartbeat and having all of our needs met. This fundamental connection way, way, way down in our brain when our brain was developing that says anytime we engage in things that are patterned, repetitive, and rhythmic, it helps us feel safe. And so relationships and movement together in sport are powerful. And they're even more powerful when we add this other piece of sport having the right dose of stress. When young people have experienced overwhelming stress or trauma, we have this instinct to want to wrap them up in bubble wrap and hope nothing bad ever happens to them again. And while that might help keep them from further harm, it won't actually help them heal. Because the opposite of overwhelming stress is not no stress. It's the right dose of stress. It's the right challenge to go a little bit outside of your comfort zone and then be able to recover and start having the right kind of reaction to stress instead of the reaction that trauma sort of rewired us to have. And so that is actually how we build resilience for young people. And resilience is incredibly important because it helps us help kids function in other places in a way that we want them to. So that's really why I think, because sport is so powerful in this way, why it matters. It matters because, 1, when young people don't have those buffering relationships, when they don't have healing environments, they're more likely to exhibit behaviors that adults view as challenging. And then those young people get labeled, and they're disproportionately disciplined. And these things happen particularly when those young people happen to be Black or brown young people. and the adult's idea of what those behaviors mean matches their existing belief system and their biases and their racism. The other reason why this is so important is because if we don't have those buffering relationships and we don't have those healing experiences and environments, then we're setting young people up to have a harder time learning. Trauma makes us operate from the part of our brain that is charged with survival, not the part of our brain that is charged with creative thinking and complex problem solving and all the things you need in order to be successful in a school environment or a work environment. And if we don't give those healing experiences, then it's harder to use this part of our brain. We're actually cutting off access to our cortex and the parts of the brain that we really need. And then the last reason why this is so important is because the young people who need it the most are the least likely to have it. And so that is why to us at CHJS, we care so much about making sure that all sport experiences are healing sport experiences, because we believe that nothing heals like sport. And one quick other thing before I hand this over to Julie McCleary, who just do what Julie tells you to do and everything will be better. But is that we talked about resilience, right? What we want is young people to be resilient to stress. But no matter how many individual young people that we build resilience for, no matter how many young people we make stronger in their individual experiences, if we're not also addressing the systems of oppression that caused the trauma in the first place, well, then we're doing it wrong. And because we are then no longer that trusted adult who a young person can rely on, and we are basically doing no better than asking a young people to dribble through their own oppression. So at the same time that we're building these individual skills for young people, we have to be breaking down the oppressive systems that are causing trauma in the first place. And that's why I'm so excited that the next person you'll hear from is Julie McCleary and a whole bunch of panelists who are really looking at how we change the systems in order to better support young people.